I wasn't expecting my ego to get wrecked by a girl dressed as an angel at my own Halloween party. I'm Ethan Price, 28, CEO of a luxury tech firm in Miami, and according to most tabloids, the city's favorite Playboy. I own the tallest glass condo downtown, have a tan my assistant swears is photogenic, and tonight, I'm throwing a Halloween bash so over the top that even the governor's son texted me for an invite. The rooftop glows gold under strings of lights, champagne flows like hydration, and every woman here seems to be competing for sexiest witch. The music's so loud it could probably wake Hemingway from the dead. I love it, mostly, because for all the fun, there's a quiet part of me that knows why I throw these parties. Noise hides the silence I don't want to face. My father died 3 years ago, leaving me a company and a mountain of expectations. Turns out charm doesn't fix loneliness, but I pretend it does. Ethan, the costume judge, is here. My best friend Leo shouts over the music wearing a ridiculous Dracula cape. Send her up. I yell back, spinning a glass of whiskey in my hand. A few minutes later, the elevator opens, and the crowd shifts. She walks in, not strutting, not seeking attention. Just walking like she owns gravity. White dress, soft as sunlight, silver wings, no glitter, no fake lashes, an angel in a room of devils, and she doesn't even look impressed. Who invited the school teacher? I mutter to Leo. He grins. That's Chloe Bennett, the charity rep you agreed to meet about that fundraiser your PR team's forcing you to host. She said she'd stop by for a quick introduction. Perfect. The one person here not dazzled by me is the one I can't blow off. I stroll toward her, all swagger. Didn't realize angels made appearances at Playboy parties. Shouldn't you be smiting me or something? She blinks. Smiting takes too much energy. I just came to make sure you actually exist, I smirk. What? Thought I was a hologram. Considering your online reputation, maybe an illusion built on arrogance. That one lands. My grin falters for half a second before I recover. Harsh, you always this charming or just saving it for me? I'm not here to charm you, Mr. Price. I'm here because your assistant said you'd sponsor our hospital's Children's Wing fundraiser. Her voice, steady, unamused. The crowd fades a little behind her, and something about her calmness disarms me. Most people either flirt or flatter. She's immune. I did say that, I admit, leaning on the bar. But only if you survive one drink at my party. Consider it a corporate test of endurance. I don't drink. Then water. But you can't leave before you see how generous I get after midnight. She sighs. You think money erases bad press? I arch a brow. You think goodness erases boredom? For a heartbeat, she studies me like she's trying to find a crack under all the sarcasm. Then quietly, maybe both are just excuses to avoid real things. That's when something sharp flickers in my chest. Before I can reply, Leo hops onto the DJ booth and grabs the mic. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dare. The crowd roars, I groan. Every year, Leo runs a stupid Halloween dare at my parties, usually some reckless stunt involving truth, tequila, and embarrassment. Leo grins down at me. This year, Ethan's in it too. Excuse me? You heard me, lover boy. Since you're Mr. No Strings Attached, your dare's simple. Pick someone tonight, someone not your type, and spend 24 hours with them. No flings, no disappearing acts. Just old school connection. The crowd chants, Dare! 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 Chloe raises an eyebrow. Sounds very mature, I cross my arms. I don't do dares. I do decisions, Leo smirks. Then decide to be less predictable for once. And because I can't resist a challenge, especially one shouted by 200 people, I lift my glass toward the crowd. Fine. 24 hours with someone who isn't my type. Done. Leo grins wider. Excellent! And we pick who? He spins dramatically and points. Her. Every head swivels toward Chloe. She freezes. Absolutely not, I laugh. She's literally allergic to fun, Leo shrugs. Perfect match then. The crowd chants again, louder this time. Someone pushes a camera phone near us. The whole thing is live-streamed on my company's charity feed. Chloe glares. You can't be serious. Relax, I say, flashing my grin for the cameras. One day. You'll see I'm not as bad as the tabloids claim. Or I'll see that you're worse, she shoots back. The audience eats it up. Phones flash, people cheer, and before I know it, she's reluctantly shaking my hand. 24 hours, she says. Then I get your signature for the children's fundraiser, and I never have to deal with you again. Deal, I reply. You might even end up liking me. I doubt it. We stand there, smiling for the cameras, pretending it's all a joke. But when her hand touches mine just for a second, it's not. There's something real in that spark. Hours later, the party begins to fade. Guests drift out. The sun starts to rise over Miami's skyline, painting the glass towers orange. I'm standing alone on the balcony, loosening my collar when Chloe reappears, wings gone, her hair slightly messy. "You don't have to follow through," she says quietly. "It was a stunt. I can tell you're used to those." I turn, studying her. "And what if I don't want to be predictable this time?" She folds her arms. "You'd have to prove it." "I will." She looks at me for a long moment, then nods once. "Fine. You start by showing up at the hospital fundraiser tomorrow. 10 a.m. sharp, no entourage, no hangover." I grin. "You're bossy for an angel." "Someone has to keep you from falling," she says, walking toward the elevator. As the doors close behind her, I realize something I haven't felt in years, interest that isn't about winning. Leo strolls up beside me. "You're actually going to show up, aren't you?" I shrug, still staring at the elevator. It's just a dare, but my voice doesn't sound convinced. "Sure," Leo says. "And maybe this one's the kind that dares you right back." The morning sun hits my face, and I suddenly feel hungover on something that isn't alcohol, a girl who doesn't like me, a dare I don't want to lose, and a feeling I never saw coming. Tomorrow, I'll walk into her world, a world that smells like disinfectant and hope, and for once, it won't be about being seen, it'll be about seeing her. And that realization, quiet as it is, scares me more than any Halloween dare ever could. The next morning hit me like karma in daylight form. Miami sun, mercilessly bright, burning through the floor-to-ceiling windows of my penthouse. My head wasn't pounding from alcohol, it was pounding from pride. I'd agreed to a dare that required genuine human behavior before noon. A personal nightmare. By 10 a.m., I was in my car, halfway regretting my life choices and half curious about the girl who'd called me an illusion. The hospital stood downtown, white walls, kids' murals, volunteers in pastel shirts. Not my natural habitat. My world ran on glass offices, espresso, and contracts. This one smelled like sanitizer and sincerity. She was there, of course. Chloe Bennett, in scrubs now instead of wings, clipboard in hand, sunlight turning her hair to gold. When she saw me, she frowned like I'd failed an exam. "You're on time." "Shocking, I know," I said. "Should we alert the media?" Her lips twitched, almost smiling. "You're not dressed for volunteering." I looked down at my black shirt, unbuttoned just enough to make HR nervous. "I'm dressed for leadership." "This isn't a boardroom, Mr. Price. You're helping set up the fundraiser." Balloons, banners, tables. "Real work. Balloons? You're kidding. Do I look like I'm kidding?" She didn't. And maybe that's why I found myself 10 minutes later holding a helium tank and trying not to pass out. "You know," I muttered, "I usually pay people to do this. And yet, you're surprisingly bad at it," she said, tying a ribbon. "Maybe humility is a skill you need practice in." "Humility's overrated. Confidence gets results. Arrogance gets messes," she replied, pointing at the 3 balloons I'd just let float into the ceiling. I stared up. Symbolic. Dreams ascending, of course. "You should write poetry." Her sarcasm was cleaner than any insult I'd ever received. Sharp, but never cruel. I wasn't used to that. Someone who didn't hate me, didn't want me, just saw me. By noon, I'd somehow helped her finish the setup. She handed me a clipboard. "You're officially signed in. Congratulations, you've survived 3 hours of community service." I grinned. And here I thought charity work was boring. She crossed her arms. "You came expecting to impress me." I raised an eyebrow. "Is it working?" "No," she said, but the corner of her mouth curved, betraying her. It was infuriatingly endearing. Then her phone buzzed. She checked it, and I saw something change in her expression. Worry. "What's wrong?" I asked. "Supply delay," she muttered. "The entertainment group for the kids' afternoon event canceled last minute. I'll have to find a replacement. I can help," I said before thinking. She blinked. "With what exactly?" "I own a media company. I can get someone here fast. Costumes, performers, whatever you need. You'd do that? It's still my dare day, right?" She hesitated, then nodded. "Fine, but don't bring in anything inappropriate." "It's for children," I mock saluted. "No fire dancers, got it." 2 calls later, my PR team had sent in a small group of entertainers, balloon artists, magicians, and a guy dressed as a pirate who called me Captain. Chloe's relief was visible. You actually came through. Don't sound so surprised. I'm just not used to people doing what they say. The way she said it, soft and honest, knocked something loose in me. You've had to handle things alone, haven't you? I asked quietly. Her eyes flicked up. I grew up here. My dad was a nurse. Mom worked 2 jobs. You learn early not to wait for help. I nodded, feeling something that wasn't pity. Respect, maybe. Sounds like you turned out better than most people with a silver spoon, she added. I chuckled. My spoon's gold-plated, technically. Right, and probably monogrammed. Her laugh, light and genuine, did something to the air around us. I hadn't realized how starved I was for a sound that wasn't performative. As the day went on, we kept colliding in small moments. She'd reach for a box. I'd take it from her. She'd scold me for texting. I'd tease her for caring. Every exchange was a tug-of-war neither of us really wanted to win. By 3 p.m., the fundraiser was in full swing. Kids laughed, parents clapped, cameras flashed. I stood beside Chloe, both of us watching a magician pull flowers out of a hat. You did good, she said quietly. You mean we did, I corrected. Don't ruin my heroic arc. Her smile was small, but it reached her eyes this time. And then Leo showed up. Of course he did, because fate has a sense of humor. He sauntered over in designer sunglasses, grinning like a cat. There's my man. I came to witness your moral awakening. Chloe frowned. You're his friend? Unfortunately for him, yes, Leo said. So how's the dare going? Fallen for him yet? Her expression hardened. Excuse me? Relax, Leo said, laughing. It's just part of the game. He had to spend 24 hours with someone who's not his type. I shot him a glare sharp enough to cut glass. Leo, shut up, but the damage was done. Chloe's face went cold. A game. Of course. Chloe, wait. She shook her head, stepping back. I should have known. People like you don't change. You just play better. She walked off before I could reach her. Leo blinked. What did I say? I wanted to hit him, or myself, or maybe both. You just reminded her why she doesn't trust men like me. That night, the hospital fundraiser was splashed all over social media. Photos of me handing out toys, smiling beside kids. The public loved it. My PR team called it image gold. But all I could think about was the look on her face when she realized I'd made her part of a dare. I couldn't leave it like that. The next morning, I showed up at the hospital again. No cameras this time, just me. The nurse at the front desk smiled awkwardly. She's in the garden, Mr. Price. The garden was small. Roses, benches, sunlight filtering through palm leaves. She was watering plants, her back to me. You're persistent, she said without turning. I'm sorry, I said. Leo didn't mean it like that, didn't he? She asked. Because it sure sounded like I was just another challenge. I agreed to the dare, yeah. But what happened after? That wasn't part of it. She faced me then, eyes sharp. You expect me to believe you suddenly grew a conscience? No, I'm saying maybe I remembered I had one. Her silence was worse than yelling. I sighed. Look, I've done plenty of stupid things for attention. But yesterday, seeing those kids working with you, it wasn't fake. You made me care about something real, and I don't know what to do with that. She looked away. You don't have to do anything. Just stop pretending you're someone you're not. What if I'm trying not to be that person anymore? She hesitated, then set the watering can down. People don't change in a day. Then give me longer than a day. For the first time, she didn't shut me down immediately. Why? Because for once, I want something I can't buy. That hung in the air between us, fragile but true. Then a nurse called her name. Chloe, the sponsors are here early. She straightened, her guard slamming back up. Duty calls. You should go, Ethan. Go back to your world. Not until you believe I'm not just playing a part. She walked past me, brushing my shoulder lightly. Then prove it. And just like that, I was standing alone in a garden, surrounded by roses and consequences. Back in my car, Leo texted, You're trending again. People love your redemption arc, I didn't answer. For the first time, I didn't care about trending. That night, I sat on my balcony, city lights flickering below. Somewhere between her anger and my apology, something real had started. but I'd ruined it before it had a chance. I opened my phone, typed her name, and stared at the number. No texts. No calls. I wanted to see her, to fix it, but some things don't fix easily. Still, she'd said it herself. People don't change in a day. Maybe tomorrow would have to be the start of mine. Because for the first time in a long time, I wasn't thinking about winning. I was thinking about her. And if I'd learned anything about Chloe Bennett, it's that angels never make redemption easy. I've spent my entire adult life controlling narratives. Every headline, every rumor, every Ethan Price spotted leaving. I could manage it all with money, charm, and a well-timed smile. But this time, I'd lost control of the one thing that actually mattered. Chloe wasn't answering my texts, not the polite one, not the sarcastic one, not even the pathetic, I owe you an apology in person one. It had been 3 days since the fundraiser, and the silence felt heavier than any hangover I'd ever had. Leo dropped by my office uninvited, as usual, wearing guilt like it was optional. She's ghosting you, huh? I didn't look up from my laptop. I wonder why. He leaned against my desk. You've been brooding. It's weird. You're supposed to bounce back. Go out, buy a new car, date someone equally unavailable. Not interested, I muttered. He whistled. Man, this one's got you bad. I shut the laptop and finally met his gaze. She saw through me, Leo, and I don't know how to fix that. He sighed. Then stop fixing. Start proving. The words hit harder than I expected. Proving. The thing Chloe had said in the garden, then prove it. By noon, I'd canceled every meeting on my calendar. There was a fundraiser follow-up event that afternoon. Press, donors, the hospital board. Normally, I'd send my PR team. Not this time. I showed up alone. The lobby buzzed with polite laughter and media flashes. I spotted her across the room instantly, navy dress, hair pinned up, talking to a nurse. She looked untouchable. I waited until she noticed me. Her eyes widened, then narrowed. You shouldn't be here. I know, I said quietly. But I had to talk to you. There's nothing to say. There's everything to say. Just not enough time to say it before you walk away again. She folded her arms. You think this is another stunt? That showing up here will fix what you broke? No, I said. This isn't a stunt. This is me trying to show you I can exist outside a headline. Her jaw tightened, but she didn't walk off. Progress. The hospital director approached, smiling. Mr. Price, thank you again for your donation. Would you like to say a few words to the press about your involvement? Chloe started to object, but I lifted a hand. Actually, yeah, I would. I stepped toward the mic stand in front of the small crowd. My stomach knotted, which was absurd. I gave corporate speeches all the time. But this was different. No script, no armor. Just truth. I cleared my throat. A few weeks ago, if you'd asked me why I host big events or give to charity, I'd have said something polished. Something about corporate responsibility, community visibility, whatever sounds noble. But I'd be lying, the crowd murmured softly. Cameras clicked. I glanced at Chloe. She stood frozen, eyes on me. The truth is, I continued, I've spent most of my life using noise to hide silence. Parties, attention, success, they were easier than connection. Then someone challenged me, not to spend money, not to perform, but to actually show up. And I failed that test at first. My throat tightened, but I forced the words out. So I'm not here to protect my image. I'm here because I hurt someone who didn't deserve it. And if she's listening, I want her to know I'm done hiding behind the mask I built. The dare wasn't to spend 24 hours with someone different. The real dare was to finally be someone different. The silence that followed was absolute. Even the cameras stopped clicking. I stepped back, heart pounding. Chloe looked stunned, torn between disbelief and something softer. After the speech, I didn't chase her. I left the building, walked into the Miami heat, and for the first time felt lighter. That night, I sat on my balcony again, same spot, same view. But it didn't feel the same. The city hummed, the ocean shimmered, and for once I wasn't trying to outshine anything. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number, I answered. Ethan. Nice speech, Chloe's voice said, calm but edged. I meant every word. I know, she said quietly. That's what scares me, I let out a breath. You don't have to forgive me, just tell me I'm not the same guy you met at that party. You're not, she admitted. But I don't know who you are yet. Then let me show you, I said. No cameras, no crowd. Just lunch, tomorrow. I'll even wear something boring. She laughed, soft, hesitant, but real. You can't pull off boring. I can try. For you. A pause then. Tomorrow. Noon. The cafe across from the hospital. When the call ended, I realized I was grinning like an idiot. The next day, sunlight poured through the cafe windows. She was already there when I arrived, coffee in hand, book open, completely at ease. You're early, I said. So are you, she replied. I didn't want to risk you leaving. I wasn't planning to. Something unspoken passed between us then. Recognition. Maybe forgiveness in its earliest form. We talked for hours. About work, about life, about how she'd once wanted to be a painter before med school debts changed her plans. I told her about my father's death, about inheriting a company I didn't feel ready for, about the pressure to perform even when I was drowning inside it. At one point, she looked at me and said, "You know, vulnerability looks good on you." "Don't say that," I said. "It might become a habit." Maybe it should. The sunlight shifted across her face and I realized I wasn't pretending anymore. Not one word, not one smile. Around 2 o'clock, she checked her watch. "I have to go, patience." "Of course," I said, standing. "Can I walk you back?" She hesitated, then nodded. As we reached the hospital steps, she stopped. "You really did change," she said softly. "I had help," I replied, "from someone who dared me to." She smiled, then did something I didn't expect. She leaned forward and kissed my cheek. It wasn't a grand cinematic moment. It was simple, sunlight warm, and completely disarming. "Goodbye, Ethan," she said. "Is it goodbye or see you later?" She grinned. "We'll see." I watched her disappear through the hospital doors, and for the first time, I didn't feel the urge to chase. Because I knew I'd see her again, not as part of a dare, not as a playboy trying to win, but as a man who finally learned how to stay. A week later, the hospital released a statement thanking donors for their continued support. I'd quietly doubled my contribution, but this time I didn't attach my name. Leo called, laughing. "You're going soft, man." "Maybe," I said. "Feels better than being hollow." He was silent for a moment. "You really love her, don't you?" "Yeah," I said. "Didn't see it coming." After hanging up, I stepped onto my balcony again, the same spot where everything had started. Miami shimmered below, blue sky, golden light, the city alive in every direction. I remembered that first night, the music, the arrogance, the angel who walked into my chaos and turned it into clarity. I'd called it a dare, but it was never really about proving something to the crowd. It was about daring myself to be honest, even when it hurt, and somehow, in losing the game, I'd won something I didn't know I was looking for. Love I never saw coming. The wind shifted, carrying the faint sound of laughter from a nearby rooftop. For a second, it felt like that first Halloween night again. Only this time, I wasn't hiding behind the noise. I smiled quietly, to no one. I wasn't expecting my ego to get wrecked by a girl in an angel costume, I said to the empty sky. Guess I should have known she'd fix more than that. If you loved watching the Playboy fall for the one woman who could see through his mask, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more heart-racing love stories.